I try to make 5 minutes video because every 15-minute video you cannot understand everything, but there is something you can take out of it. My video is like going to the shopping center. You will never buy everything from the store, but there is a little bit in the video for everybody. You have to understand this world, the children are not made the same way. There is one night stand, there is condom break, there is pure wedding, and there is wedding for money, and there is wedding for love. So if you understand, the children are made differently, but when they came out, a baby is just a baby. But with the consciousness, there is a difference with the children. The music is not the same. If the music is different, the language is different, the feeling is different, and the thinking is different. So there's a little bit for everybody, but I decided to make this video in a short way so you can understand. If when the apple is growing out of the tree, the apple is full, and everybody has to go and pick one apple. But they say to everybody, when you pick this apple, we're gonna cut down the apple tree. If everybody eats the apple and throw it away, and nobody plants a seed, will you get an apple tomorrow, next year? If even we plant the seed, how long will it take us before the first apple came out of the tree? Understand the meaning of the human being, for you to understand the new name what the people are getting, the new houses, the new teacher, until you understand the little girl yesterday is now the teacher. The very old man yesterday will become the youngest child in the school 100 years later. Everybody have one apple. Will you allow somebody to cut the tree down when you know if we have to plant the apple, it will take a long time before we get another apple? You plant the apple today, we cut the tree, it will take more than 6 or 7 years before we can really get a real apple out of the tree. I mean the real big apple tree, not the apple with 2 or 3. The real big apple tree that have so much apple. How long it take for the apple tree to grow? If we leave the apple tree, every year we're gonna get the same amount of apple. Every year we get the same amount of apple. For as long as we have the same amount of apple, it doesn't matter if some plant it and some don't, because we know we still have the same apple tree. But if we all pick the apple out of the tree and we flush it down the ocean, we know in the ocean the apple seed will never grow there. When you float the seed away, the people will never have sex to have children. But when you plant the little seed in the ground, when you have sex in the period of 9 months, you have the little baby, you can give them water to eat, you can give them food, you can give them whatever. It's like giving the apple seed the water so it can grow every day. It's growing every day. It's growing. It's like the little babies. We plant them in the world. We give them new name. They go to the same school we used to be, and they're growing up. But if there is no big apple tree, which is the big people, to have those children every day, we will not carry on the next 40 years. But until you understand the body of the people, I say it many times, it is just like the apple tree, not just getting the apple out, but inside each apple there is a seed. There's 2 or 3 seeds inside one apple. The human being, the body of the girls, they all have the apple inside of them. When you throw the water in, the stomach, the apple will develop, and you will get them out and put them in a wall, and they're growing up. And when the apple tree grow up to become 30 years of age, in a period of 9 months, they will have a lot of children, just as many of them who have sex, the many children you can get all over the world. If the apple what we pick out of the tree last year is not the same apple we're gonna take out of the tree this year, it's not the same apple that is coming out of the tree 10 years later, why you keep thinking the people that came out of the body of the people, it is not just the same apple that is coming out and 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 coming out. But for as long as when we only can have sex and use the condom, there will be no little apple plant in the ground that will grow up later to give us a new apple for us to eat. Meaning when you're dead, 9 months before you're dead, they will build you a new apple so you can be the seed to grow up in this world. When you have a child, you already plant the apple. When a child is growing, any stage the child is, 1 year old, that body that is 1 year old is gonna enter the 2 years old body. The beef of the body is getting bigger, it's growing. The flesh is growing, is growing, is growing. You plant a little seed, it's getting bigger, getting bigger, getting bigger, getting bigger. But the little flesh, what you invest in a little baby, it is what gets so big. And when you put the paint inside of the body, you can get 1 out, 2 out, 3 out, 4 out, 5 out, 6 out, 7 out, 8 out, 9, 10, just like Katherine Jackson did. And now you see them, so many, but you forget the 1 year old is what become the body of the 2 years old. It's what become the 3, 4, 5 till 10 years. And it doesn't matter if they have 10 babies, it is just the beef that becomes so much, now have different faces. Now take care, understand, if the apple that we eat, we don't cry that the apple tree is dead. If we know next year that we still be the same amount of apple, why are you gonna give them a name in the first place? When you know next year it's just the same exact apple is falling off from the apple tree. If the people you think already dead, if the babies they have today, why don't you just rename them from all the people you think already dead? Only just try to understand what's the difference if their mothers did not only have 1 child, they have 5 or 6 children out of them. They are not dead. They just become new children in the world. The wind is what going in the new faces. The light is what going in the new eyes from the baby. In the school book, the mind is what gonna be fed in those children. The names you call them, the friends they make, it is all out there. It is not dead, but it's a fantasy You can live the fantasy, have the fun, live your life every day, then you're thinking there is a heaven later. If when you pick the apple from the tree, you're like, I'm not gonna eat this apple, I'm gonna keep it. Well, what happened when you leave the apple in the table? You don't eat it. What apple? What happened to it? It's getting old. It shrink. It's like the old people. When you have them in the wall, they plant no. You don't plant the seed. You don't open it and plant the seed. They're getting old. They're getting old. They're getting old. So at the end of the day, if you cut the apple open, you plant the seed, you still close the apple, you put it on the table. Even if it shrink, it doesn't matter, because you know there is still an apple seed on the ground growing and growing and growing. It's like when adults have a baby, when they're getting old, you will not worry, because you know that's them, the little child. It is their body that grow up. They're getting the amount of flesh. When you have one baby, you invest 1 pound of meat. That 1 pound of meat is growing to become the adult. And you can make as many out of them later, because the 1 pound that you invest every year is getting more and more and more. But if you don't take any pound out of it, they go in 6 feet. But if you take 5 pounds out of them, those 5 pounds gonna grow up and produce more. So you're going to buy 1 pound meat from the cow. Why don't you just make love and make 1 pound of meat from your body? Give them your exact name and try to tell them they are you. So when they grow up later, forget you're dead. Live the life that you are now. When you're gone, it's gone. It's just a fantasy. It is not real. My body is not real. It will be gone one day. But I will get a new face and I will get a new experience. Good night.